And off we go. So, welcome to Soul, Sex, and Spirit Conversation. So happy to have a chat with you this morning. If you don't know who I am, so welcome. I'm Jay Diamond. I am the secret weapon for genie-like results in love and soul purpose business for women all over the world. And today I wanted to have a little conversation with you about mindset work for soul purpose business. And a big reason for this is soul purpose work that feels like it's from our heart, it's from our soul, it's like a deep offering that is coming from a deep place within us where we want to contribute to the world. The way that we do business, the way we're called to do business in this way, if it even is a business in the traditional sense, is really quite different from other lines of work. So many of us who are in soul-led business work, we've worked all kinds of jobs before that. We've done all kinds of things over the years that have maybe led us towards that, or actually been in a completely different direction. And then something shifts, something changes, and we come into our heart's work, our soul purpose work. And there has to be a real mindset shift around this kind of work, because it's not a regular 9 to 5. It's even the act of entrepreneurship, the act of having your own business, isn't of itself a huge shift in mindset if you're used to a 9 to 5 job, something where you get the same pay every single month. A lot of women, when I'm talking to them and they want to increase their income, a lot of times they'll say, I just want consistency. I want to have consistent 5 grand months, 10 grand months, 100 grand months, or whatever it is for them, wherever they're at and wherever they're aiming for. They want that level of consistency. And entrepreneurship itself as a beast just isn't a consistent beast. Even people with who are wildly wealthy and wildly successful businesses, they might have a baseline in their business, but that's not necessarily that the business is consistent per se, that there's the same output every month. And I think, one thing that a lot of us aren't prepared for when we're moving into our soul's work, we often feel like there's a call into that work. Every woman that I speak to says that she had a calling of some kind or another. Often that calling is because they've been working through, whether you're whatever gender you identify with, or neither. That person will often say to me that it's come from a place deep inside them where they want to share what they've learned. It's often from this place of sharing what they've learned, sharing what has helped them. Perhaps it's from experiences in their life where they've worked with someone else or seen someone else go through something, and then they've realized that they can help more people in that capacity. Often comes from that place. And so because it's coming from that place, our relationship with the work is different than a regular job. But 9 times out of 10 in the beginning, we're taking our regular job mentality into that business experience, and it's completely different. And I think of some of my friends who are very successful in their work. They may project manage certain things, but they'll have a team that's for marketing, a team that's for finances, a team that's for advertising, a team that's for sales, a team that's for, I don't know, like customer satisfaction. Whereas when you move into your soul purpose business, even as a solopreneur, you wear all of those hats, and most of us are not trained in all of those hats. So it's a wild ride for the first while for most of us. And I think the first mindset shift to really consider is to embrace that. The thing I was coming to is that a lot of people that I speak to, they assume that because there's a strong calling on their life and they feel very convicted that this is the work that they're supposed to be doing in the world. Sometimes they might have even had a spiritual experience or a dream or a particular awakening, or someone's even prophesized over them that this is the work that you're supposed to do in the world. They then presume that the whole path is going to be open and easy. they presume that because this is the work that they're supposed to do in the world, that all doors will just fly open from the very beginning, and then they can become quite disenchanted if that's not the case. And so there's a lot to learn when we're doing our soul's work as a business, if you want that to be your main source of income. And the doors don't always fly open. It doesn't, you might have a great month, you might have a few clients, and then, oh, okay, the next month nobody's buying, or only one person wants your program or your coaching services, and you start to think, am I on the right track? Like, did I get this wrong? What's happening? And that's why when I work with clients, I work with energy and strategy, because the energy piece is really important. How we think about ourselves, how we think about our work, our deeper belief system, our relationships with money, our relationship with visibility, our relationships with withstanding the disapproval, perhaps of family or community or the religion that we've been born into. These are huge factors that absolutely infiltrate someone's work. Now, that can happen if you are selling plugs. If you have your own business, it's a completely different journey, and obviously anybody who has their own business will know. And if you don't have your own business, you won't know until you're in it. It's a bit like having children, to be honest. You think you know, and you have a lot of judgments and thoughts about what you think you would do until you're actually in it and faced with it on a day-to-day basis, right? It's a huge learning curve. Huge, and there's strategy and energy. And some people will say, oh, it's mostly strategy, and some people say it's mostly energy, and really it's a combination of both. And you need different, the ingredients change according to what's happening at the time. It's, if I actually used to work in sales, a cold calling sales, commission only, cold calling, commission only sales. That means if I don't sell, I don't get paid the end. There was no basic rate whatsoever. And so, I would be on the phone a lot, and I was good at it. And I was good at it not because I was hard selling people, because the clients that I was working with were far more evolved than that, and really would not respond to kind of, when you're on the phone and someone's trying to sell you a mobile phone deal and they're all in the hard sell, and you're just like, oh my God, like that kind of sale, those kind of sales techniques wouldn't work with our clients, who are very, very highly educated people, very wealthy people. And so it was a conversation about a win-win. That's where, it really had to be a win-win situation. Not that I was winning a sale at their expense, but to really understand how that product benefited them. So all of that to say, I was very, very good at sales, because I was good at holding conversations, and I was good at actually caring that people got a great outcome. But we can be absolutely excellent at something in a job that's for someone else, and that something happens over and over again that I see with people is when they go into their own business, it's not as easy for them. Something happens where they're like, well, I know this, I have this skill, I'm not afraid of talking to people. Or you might have had your own marketing agency, you might or worked with in a marketing agency for someone else, and then when it comes to running your own business, you're not maybe seeing the same results. And often the reason is that it's because it's such a heart-led thing, and because you're also wearing lots of different hats now. You're not just showing up and getting paid and doing the one thing that you're great at doing, which is why so many business coaches will talk about outsourcing the work that you're not genius at, because when you're spending hours and hours in the work that you're not genius at, it's taken away from that genius spot of you actually delivering the work that your soul is really here to do. So I think that mindset shift is important, that there can be a wobble, and some people will say it shouldn't be so, but the truth of what I've actually seen working with not millions, many, that's an exaggeration, many people all over the world, is that when it comes to them selling their own work, their own heart's dream, this is where we have to do the energy work. This is why the mindset work is so important, because the path of business is quite like the path of love. And I work with both of these realms, soul purpose work and relationships, love, sex, and relationships. And the reason I started to work with people around their businesses to talk about that is because on the back end, as when we'd finished, I got to a place where a woman felt really complete with doing the relationship work, and she was manifesting the soulmate of her dreams. What we were seeing was that as we were doing this work, her business was growing, her money was growing, her relationship to her business was shifting. And this is because we were removing the intimacy blocks, the blocks around her ability to receive, the blocks around her visibility, her inner story about what she's worthy of through the energy work that I do, which is theta healing, access consciousness, and whatever else comes up in the moment intuitively. Through doing that work, there's an energetic thread that was running between the two. And so then I would start to work the other way around. I would work predominantly with women in their business, in their soul work business, as we were releasing stuff around visibility and relationship to what they feel they could charge. And some people even have lifetimes worth of religious programming. As we were unlocking that, their love life was starting to open, their sexuality was starting to heal. We were moving between these places where they were cut off from feeling pleasure. And there's so much programming, particularly for women. Yes, men do have a lot of programming around, love, sex, intimacy, and spirituality, but particularly for women, we've been programmed to put our pleasure last for generations. And so it's a new thing, really, that on a wider scale we're having this conversation about leading through pleasure, and like where is the balance between pleasure and profit. Because the question for a lot of women that I work with, and probably a lot of men, I should imagine, would be that if I have too much of a good time, does it mean I'm not going to make any money? And there's often a deeper subconscious belief that I can have freedom, or I can have wealth, I can have pleasure, or I can have profit. So the deeper work that we do, the belief work, is around addressing these things and releasing these limiting beliefs, and allowing us to really, our mind to get it, that we're connected to the creator of all that is, and that, abundance is all around us, and that we're allowed to have both. And that to say, not everybody wants to be a millionaire. Not everybody needs to be a millionaire. Not everybody cares about being a millionaire. And so it's really about looking at what is true success for you. And sometimes, we need to chase the money and have all the money to realize that the money is like the cherry on top that makes life great. I mean, if you can't pay your gas bill, then it feels like the most important thing in the world, right? But once you've actually got yourself in a place where money isn't an issue, then you can really ask yourself, what do I truly want in my life? What do I truly desire? Do I need to have lots of things, particular the way that particular things may look? But what actually truly makes me happy? Because then you can actually really ask the question without worrying about monetary income, because the truth is, until we're in a place where we feel we're in a good place with money, almost all of our decisions are coming from that. Our soul purpose work starts to be distorted because we're worrying about the financial input, we're worrying about getting the next client, and we start to distort the work that we're offering, consciously or subconsciously, because we're afraid we won't get the sale. Maybe we dim it down, maybe we start, and I know I've done this in the past. People aren't understanding, the work that I'm doing. People don't get the depth of what I'm offering. People aren't interested in shadow work, is the story I would tell myself. And it's true that the general masses definitely want whatever's easy, happy, clappy, someone with feathers in their ears, and someone who speaks in a soft voice, someone who has the persona of spiritual, right? I was having a conversation with a great client last night about this, the persona of spiritual, the part of us that wants to buy into that because our ego is actually attached to it. And so all of that to say, when can we come back to what is our soul's true mission here, because that's what actually really makes us happy. And sometimes we can create great wealth through that. Um, and sometimes, some of us don't like to hear this, and I'm sorry to kind of don't shoot the messenger, but sometimes the soul purpose work is a part of what we're here for, but it's not necessarily what we're here to create as a main income stream. And that's okay. I know, a lot of people on the internet will say, you can have it all and you can make £1 million from your soul purpose work. And yes, you could. But it's like, at what level, at what expense, and is that aligned for you? So I'm not saying you shouldn't aim for that. What I'm saying is this, the difference is to be open to God's plan. Be open to God's plan in your life, because often what we'll do is we'll do what we think we should do, because that's, we've only got the information that we've got. God's not going to come up with a 10-point plan, which he usually doesn't. And it's very frustrated. Then we go ahead and we do what we think we know how to do. And so, it's like, can we root into what, God, what would you have me do? Who would you have me be? How would you have me serve people? And this is something one of my mentors reminded me of. And it was a prayer. I actually had it written on my wall, like probably 15 years ago at least. I would wake up and say that prayer every morning, and I forgot about it. And a mentor reminded me of it. And what that will take you on is this kind of magical mystery of tour of like, what does life want to bring through you? What does Creator want to bring through you? And this is a mindset shift in our soul purpose work. Not it has to be in a way that it feels good for us, that it benefits us, and we're a contribution, and it's a beneficial for the whole. And what I find is that money will flow much easier when it's good for you, when it's good for the other person, and it's a contribution to the whole. Does that make sense? Rather than, this is the strategy that I've learned, and it that should work because this person's made it work with this kind of business. And it's quite a wake-up call, when you've been trying the things, but you kind of not been kind of staying true to yourself, and the desire of life, let's say, that wants to come through you, through your soul's journey and your soul's evolution. And I think, this soul purpose work is your soul's evolution journey in this lifetime. Like love, this soul purpose work will show you your deeper negative beliefs. It will show you where you block yourself. It will show you where you argue against opportunities. It will show you where you limit yourself. It will show you where you're afraid to be visible. It will show you where you discount yourself to try and stay humble, so that you can always be relatable but block your own growth. It will show you where you feel you have to take someone else's path on board in order to have success. And I'm totally not against, I know a lot of people will teach, burn all your bridges. If you really believe in yourself, buy my £20,000 program, usually ends there. If you really believe in yourself, cut off all options, buy my 20 grand program and go for it 100%. And, that does work for some people, and it really doesn't work for others. And I don't want the work that I'm doing to be at the expense of my nervous system, to be frantic and pushing and building something from survival mode. Because something that I have seen is you absolutely can build a business from need and survival, but there often comes a point where it falls flat. Either you fall out of love with the business because you've got yourself in a place where you're on a more relaxed nervous system level, then the way you are changes, the messaging changes, the kind of clients don't who were attracted to that survival mode stuff, they're not a good fit anymore, and the business starts to tank, or you just fall out of love with it because it's not actually built on your true desire, it's built on need, it's built on fear, and it's built on survival. Now, again, I'm not making any of that wrong, because that might be what's built you a great business thus far. And so the next piece is like, in the next chapter, what's going to create more alignment for you. And I think we have to be willing to evolve who we are, what we're doing, and how we're offering it in that way, you know. Certainly that's what I've seen. um what else did I want to share with you today? Comparison. Yeah, and I think again, it can be really easy to compare monetary wise, visibility wise. There's so many moving parts in a business. There really is so many moving parts in a business. About visibility really often comes from within this place of allowing ourselves to be seen, but there is a strategy that goes with that. You do have to have offers that people can opt into, and you do have to go out there and speak to people in whatever capacity. Video works really well for me. I like video, but I also really like audio. I really like audio because it means I can do it in my pajamas when I put my kids to bed at night. But talking for me is I think is a way that I channel really well. I do like writing, but it takes a bit of a longer time for me. So those kind of things really work well for me. And there might be certain things that work really well for you that you can start to play with and experiment with more in your business. And something I'm doing at the moment is I'm experimenting. I'm saying, okay, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. If it flows, let's do it. If it doesn't flow, let's don't. And maybe something needs to be shifted and changed it. I said that's a real word. And like that, really. We can be so easy to compare ourselves to other people, but comparing our beginning to other people's 5, 6, 7 years down the line. And also remembering that this is our soul journey as well, that it's a path of our awakening. There are things for us to unravel and unlock on this journey. And so it can be really easy to compare, but then it really comes back to, what within me do I desire? What within me is blocking this desire? And really being open to, Creator, what would you like to bring through me? That doesn't mean you don't get to do some of the things that you love. It just might mean that what happens is doors fly open when you are in full alignment with what life wants to bring through you at that time. So it could be for a season. Some things are for a season, a reason, and a lifetime. Remember that. And sometimes you might have a season of doing a particular thing in your business where Creator is reaching things, places, times, events through you. And sometimes that might come to a close. And the next stage of your soul's evolution, the next stage of your experience is coming through. And that's a tricky spot to be in. And maybe that's something I should talk about on a different day, of like this spot of the void, this spot where we're shifting and we're changing and we're growing and we're still trying to do the old things, and something new is trying to come through. Or maybe a change in the way that we've been offering what we're offering wants to come through. And it's like we have to be really agile as soul-led entrepreneurs. We've got to be super agile and flexible to what's happening in the moment, to what's coming through. Because we're not selling plugs on the internet, we're not doing drop shipping, we're not hiding behind a website that sells shoes that anybody can buy at anybody time, and it's one fixed price forever, and people buy them for a few months and then they buy another one. It's a very different sure you already know this, it's a very different ball game, the work that we're doing. So there's two things, kind of mindset things I want to leave you with today. Questions that you can ask the universe, questions that you can ask Creator, Source, God, Goddess, Yahweh, Allah, whatever, Clive. Call it Clive if you want. I don't care. It's all the same to me. There's two questions I want you to ask that God in you to bring through. And the first one is, what contribution, you can ask this each day or every now and again, what contribution can I be in the world today to allow life to move through you? What contribution can I be in the world today? And the second one is, how can I create profit and grow wealth today? And if you can just ask those questions and let Creator bring that to you, it's not always through the same channel. And let that be okay. Just let yourself be supported in your soul's work and let yourself become profitable and grow in wealth in the way that is going to come to you with ease, joy, and glory, whatever that might be. Just let go of all the hows, let go of all the rules, and be in the work that you're here to do. All right, I hope this has served you today, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.